have lots of tools, but sometimes past life regression can help you solve your problems, but if it's not yours, if it came from your lineage, if it's not personal, then we try overall, it just doesn't work. So there was tools for it. This is what I'm gonna do in fall. I'm gonna do 3 healing sessions, and then I'm going to do one workshop to actually attempt to describe how I do this, to release trauma from family, and even beyond that. We can work with professional egregors, country, and even other galaxies. I have more and more clients who come and say, I'm not from here. I don't know how to live here. Lots of people probably have those problems before, but they didn't feel safe to express it, right? So we can work on that level too.
Guzalia, I don't know if I told you about this one. I had a client, she actually channeled in a extraterrestrial in the trance, and they did an upgrade on her. And she started to convulse in the table. And it was like having epilepsy. And her head was going. And I was like, I had never experienced that. So I said, okay,
so that part
let me calm down.
Responded to being recognized and honored.
But I said, allow that energy to come in with ease and grace, and allow the body to regulate, and we kind of assimilate it gently. But I was a nervous wreck because she was like all like the head was going to, and so I was able to regain composure and then just take her through it, and then it normalized and the energy was coming in. She did not remember anything afterwards. Like I said, did you not feel your body moving? She goes, no. I said, they gave you an upgrade. I had it recorded.
With past life regression, you've probably seen it a lot, Reina. When I do ancestral trauma release, that's what I monitor, because that's how I know I found truth. The whole foundation is uncovering all the lies and hidden stuff, dishonored stuff. Like we just pretended it didn't happen. Because there's so much energy is taken to suppress and hide it from ourselves or each other. It blocks the energy. When you pushed on that button, release of energy, like another breath, another channel opened up. You see the face, right? Or they say, it's in my chest, I feel it. So this is what I'm relying on the bodily response. But there are all sorts of different reactions, like humming, like people vibrating, or a tense up, or face changes. Fascinating to watch.
It is fascinating. It's like, wow.
The hardest, at least for me, when working with aborted children, unborn children, miscarriages, some women had so much, but the family egregor is very rigid structure. The soul came, it's going to be here to live life. If you killed the body, it's going to live through you or siblings. It's going to be there. And then we have this, okay, we call it multi-talented. It's great if it's yours, but maybe like 25 aborted children are trying to live through you. And then in the morning you wake up as one person, and then you're somebody else. And then you go to bed, you're so confused, you don't know where you're going, what you want even, because it's not just you, it's all the souls are trying to live through you. And many clients will even say that, yeah, I feel like I'm living not my own life, or I'm living many lives. The problem with this, it's not isolated cases now in our generations. It's like pandemic. Before, abortions weren't legalized. And I'm not against abortion. There are situations that you just have to. But when it's so many, it becomes a bigger and bigger problem. And then the spirals to prevent pregnancy. It does not prevent pregnancy. The baby is already created. It's kind of like automatic abortion happen. The soul is already there. Now it's in your field for your entire life. You have to deal with this. But for how many years women have those spirals, have that self-initiated abortion every month without even knowing? When I do cleansing with wax, I read the imprint and there will be like few dozens of little fetuses on the side. Like, how many abortions did you have? And some are shocked. Generally, I never had an abortion. Like, where are all these babies? Did you have miscarriages? I never had a miscarriage. And then, like, oh, I had a spiral for 5 years. Then I start having health problems. I removed it. Looks like unborn babies. They're all here in the field and trying to live alone with you. And then you don't understand where the problems come from. When abortions weren't legal, women would go to shady places. And then you can't talk about it. It's even worse. So everyone was pretending that it even didn't happen. This child didn't happen, never got honored. And now the program start to repeat over and over and over.
That's an interesting concept. I have watched a little bit on different intuitive beings talking about that. And sometimes they say that the soul will come in at birth, or like when it takes its first breath, and sometimes it's already in the womb, but that the soul can decide when it wants to come in.
If you have a miscarriage,
The problem when it's hidden, when you're trying to cover up.
wow, okay.
Maybe you think you're protecting other people's feelings. Maybe I don't need to share it with my husband. He would be devastated. I'll just pretend it didn't happen. Or we're not going to tell other children. So you're pretending as, do you know, this is human, this is soul, divine being came into this world. It picked you. The whole family egregor chose you as a designated channel to bring the soul into the world, and now you're pretending it never happened. It's dishonored, but it's still here. It doesn't disappear. It's still here in our life.
I always thought it just goes back to life. I like that belief. It gets another chance in another body.
Well, maybe
aspects of
some
it,
do, but when I do channeling, some are, they have no idea what's going on. They don't understand where they are, what to do. They have no idea. Well, there are processes that we can do to help them to go back. Another like scary thing I've seen when, well, maybe time was really difficult for your mom, and your mom considered abortion, or she didn't, but other people tried to force her. So that little baby had to hide. There's this little tiny soul had to hide and hang on for their life, be quiet. Maybe if they won't notice me. How many stories you heard that pregnancy wasn't even known until much, much later, until it became very obvious? Women didn't even know she's pregnant. This little soul was hanging on with all its might to survive here.
So does that little soul, then when it comes to life itself, do they still
act
walk
the same
around?
way? This is when we see
They try to
in
go
our groups,
invisible?
in our groups, we see ladies, I'm afraid to be in the camera. I don't want to speak up. It's scary. I freeze.
Invisible.
Yes. I don't want to show myself because it's dangerous, because I might die. Sometimes I have client who says, it's as though I froze, like I'm dead. I'm not even living. I know I should be doing this, but I can't even move to make things happen. I write all these goals for myself. I take program after program, course after course, but I can't do anything about it. I feel like I'm just frozen. So that part of this person believed that it's died because that was a plan. Mom made that plan to go get abortion. Miracle happened and the baby got saved. So yeah, there's so many different scenarios. After all the conventional resources are explored and didn't help, that's one of the things that may help. That's when I use that protocol.
That'll be good because we get a lot of clients with ancestral stuff, like I do. I get with ancestral stuff. And now that you were talking about being invisible, I had a client, her mom ended up getting pregnant from a boy that they didn't want. The mom, they lived in a very classist society. So the mom was very affluent. And what she did is that she sent her daughter and the man to live in another town. They were young and he was not a good provider, and it was hiding the pregnancy all the time of this one girl that came in. So I saw aspects of that where she tried to blend into her environment. Like she was another persona doing her life every day, but her real authentic self wasn't showing up.
All these patterns will repeat, maybe not even ours, and we don't understand why. Well, logically we do, we know what we need to do, we kind of understand everything, but then it seems as though life happened to us sometimes. It just program repeats itself over and over through generations.
What I'm fascinated with all this, Guzalia, is that a lot gets imprinted in utero. How much gets imprinted in utero until about that 4 years old? You know, because they say everything's learning, but there's a lot that gets imprinted just from being in the belly. I've had people where we'll follow back in time to see where that fear or that wound started, and it's in utero. Oh, it's not even mine. That fear is my mom. My mom is feeling this. It fascinates me how much either it's learned or imprinted in utero.
Some happen even before that.
Mhm.
Not even in your own incarnations, but other people in your family. It's just a program, the pattern that repeats through generations, trying to live through. Like trauma is created, this program is created, and it's seeking some sort of resolution.
Gotcha.
Every program wants some sort of resolution, so it will go through.
Till it gets resolved.
Yeah, through anyone in different disguises. Like, look at all the families you know around you or your own. What's repeating? What's pattern repeating? Maybe every woman ends up being pregnant and alone for different reasons. They were with different men, but the actual situation may repeat in some way. Or maybe every man through generations ends up in jail. Maybe they were really good, law-abiding people, but just life happens this way. They ended up in this situation because of something happened beyond their control. Well, I also get a lot of clients when it comes to money and career who say, I do everything right. I work so hard, it's just like I'm spinning the wheel. And then we start digging. But here you don't even have to be psychic. What stories have you heard from your families? Anyone suffered for the money? Oh yeah, my grandfather, he was carrying money and he got killed because of this money. Here, that's alone is enough to imprint that fear so deeply. Money is not safe. Money equals death. You can logically, understand everything. It's not me, it's not my life. I'm doing everything right. I'm abiding law. I'm secured. I'm not walking around this bag of money. My life is not under threat, but the program exists. You have to remove that. Free yourself from this. Or maybe presenting yourself, going public, achieving some sort of success too may equal death because somebody got killed when they became successful. But if you talk to your parents, your grandparents, remember all the stories you've heard, you may find out that the same pattern happened over and over and over. Don't get eaten, absorbed by this program and this program. Recognizing it, understanding, accepting, honoring, not suppressing, not brushing off, not excluding, because, as I said, family egregor is very rigid system. You cannot just pretend it doesn't. It will live its life through in some way. Sometimes just saying those words out loud. Yes, I am accepting it. I am honoring it. I'm admitting this happened in my family. It has a right to exist, and I'm accepting it.
So that family member that does the work for the clan, does it energetically really heal or release that problem or
It will
generational
affect the
curses?
entire family. Well, not just family, the whole
Healing
lineage.
generational curses.
Yeah. And the amount of energy comes out. I mean, you can see it right away in the face, like burst of energy as I get hot, red, or like, finally I can breathe with full chest. Well, this is body response in the moment. This is how I know I'm on the right track. We found something. Well, sometimes you have to poke a few times to figure it out. Sometimes we have nothing to go off. Maybe they were abandoned. They don't even know who's their family. They don't even know anything about themselves. So you just try to spin different scenarios, repeating, poking in the dark. And then finally I can see the body responding. Okay, we got that. Let's unravel that thread. What really fascinating, I think, when I check in with clients later, or when they just, text me or message me, hey, Guzalia, it's been a couple of months. Here's what happened. It's as though doors start opening up. Or I finally got that. As though not just you change, the world changed around you. That's traditional way. We would set, not we, it has to be done in the person's house. They set a dining table. I don't know if you remember, if you heard me speaking about the table runners, the traditional table runners. This is a landing place for your ancestors to come.
So table runners are good to put in the house on the table?
Yeah, if it's heirloom, amazing.
Oh, if it's an heirloom, okay.
Or if you don't have any, if you didn't inherit and start that tradition, it would be embroidered usually with the family symbols, what means to you something. So table runner or a tablecloth. Heirloom is great, but if you don't have, then maybe get a new one. White is better. That's what we used. You're facing the table lawn-wise, lawn table. And you spread like this tablecloth, so it's kind of laying out the road, the landway. And then the person for whom it's done, they are to prepare a meal. In our tradition, it's mostly baked pies. Milk, alcohol is not put on the table. Milk with honey we did, especially when you do work with unborn children, you need milk with honey, warm. Candles. Some would put silverware, dinnerware and all this. Some just food. You seat the client and you're doing vacation. You're supposed to, bring the light, open that portal to connect. You're connecting to their family egregor. And the practitioner would stand behind the person sitting, hands on the shoulders, because you need to feel the energy, you need to feel their bodily response. You speaking usually starts with a prayer, incantations to open the portal and invite the ancestors. So if you're psychic, if you're able to see the energies, you'll see along the table on each side, people will start coming in. Left side, mother's branch, right side, father's branch. Start hearing noises, voices. And then for people who don't see well energies, big mirror placed across on the wall, across the table. Then you can see in the mirror very well. You can also face windows, and in the window reflection, you will be able to see it better too. But if you're good, then you don't need anything. It's not crucial to see them. You kind of feel the presence anyway. And it's kind of like judgment day. You work on what your client need help with at the moment. She maybe cannot get pregnant. Address that issue from different points of view. Because through different incarnations, we can play murder in one life and persons that been murdered in the next life. You have to experience that from both sides. So if you just assume that and address both possible scenarios, that can be helpful because we don't know for sure. Every possible scenario around that issue. Perhaps I don't even want to have children. Perhaps in our family were women who maybe died during childbirth or were killed because they got pregnant and somebody didn't want them to. And then, well, you feel them, how the body responds. You felt something right, you just continue. If you don't feel a response, you try different scenarios. When you got in the right track, the bodily release happen, shakes, and they will say what's going on. Or I can't breathe, as though something around my neck. Perhaps in our family, a woman got pregnant and man didn't want anybody to know and he choked her or hanged her. Or maybe at that time, she got pregnant outside of marriage and was hanged for it. If this is the truth, I'm accepting it. I'm honoring it. It happened. It has a right to be. We all have a right to know. We're not going to brush it under the rug. We're not going to hide it. We're going to honor that part. I'm accepting it. And then you see, like, body's really reacting. So you go through a few things. I'm all red. Yeah, so that's how traditionally it's done. I'm, of course, simplifying it. I can do it even through Zoom. I'm done it with groups. In group, oh my gosh, that's what I want to do in fall. I want to do group because that's even more powerful, that it's collective. So when I do with groups, everybody say what they're experiencing. And because in a group we're all connected, it will resonate with us too. Yeah, probably something happened in our family too. Something that we weren't even aware of. That is even more powerful.
It's interesting, Guzalia, as you're talking about this, I just felt this cold air come through me. And I was like, whoa.
Telling you right now,
You're just,
there is something hidden in the closet. Let's look at it.
Yeah, it was like, whoa, we're talking about family or something. I don't know, but I felt that entity just like pass through me because I got cold. And this is great.
Not complex, you just have to know how to do it, and it's powerful. When nothing else is helpful, I do that. Emotionally, this is very taxing. I'm always crying with every client, but it's so powerful. But also, not everyone would be open because somebody's calling me and I have no idea what their model of the world like. If I'm gonna, straight up front say, here's how we're gonna do it, they'll be shocked, never call me back. But once you work with a client and you learn about them, you know which tools would be appropriate for them, what can help them.